Public Relations and Information Department of the Firefighting General Department said in a statement Tuesday that firefighting teams were able to control a large fire that broke out in an open wood warehouse at a site affiliated to the Kuwait Ports Authority in the West Abdullah Port area with a total area of 1 million square meters. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Interior Anas Saleh announced that the fire stations, with the support of the Army, the National Guard, and the Kuwaiti Oil Centers, are fighting the fire. Earlier, the Director General of the Kuwait Fire Service, Lieutenant General Khalid Al-Mikrad, said that 9 fire stations are dealing with the fire, adding that so far there are no human injuries, noting that the damage is material and included large quantities of food and more than 3,000 new cars. The UAE government has announced that mosques, prayer spaces, and other places of worship will gradually reopen nationwide from July the 1st and operate at 30% capacity. The state-run news agency said the development comes in coordination with the relevant federal and local authorities who continue to take all considerations for precautionary and preventive measures. However, prayer spaces located on motorways, industrial areas, labor camps, cooperative societies, commercial centers, and parks will all remain closed until further notice. The COVID-19 pandemic is not even close to being over, the WHO warned Monday, as the global death toll passed 500,000 and cases surged in Latin America and the United States. In another grim milestone, the number of infections recorded worldwide topped 10 million, while some authorities reimposed lockdown measures that have crippled the economies worldwide. World Health Organization Chief Tedros Adhanom said that hard reality is that the pandemic is not even close to being over, adding that although many countries have made some progress, globally the pandemic is actually speeding up. COVID-19 is still rampaging across the US, which has recorded more than 125,000 deaths and 2.5 million cases, both around a quarter of the global totals. Hyderabad-based Bharat Biotech announced that it has successfully developed Covaxin, India's first vaccine candidate for COVID-19, in collaboration with the Indian Council of Medical Research and National Institute of Virology. The Drug Controller General of India, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, granted permission to initiate Phase 1 and Phase 2 human clinical trials after the company submitted results generated from preclinical studies demonstrating safety and immune response. Human clinical trials are scheduled to start across India in July 2020. The SARS-CoV-2 strain was isolated in the National Institute, Pune, and transferred to Bharat Biotech. Thailand on Tuesday confirmed 2 new coronavirus cases imported from abroad, making 36 days without local transmission. A spokeswoman for the government's COVID-19 Administration Center said the new cases were Thai nationals returning from Qatar who were in state quarantine. The coronavirus has killed 58 people in Thailand among its 3,171 infections. Of those, 3,056 patients have recovered. Thailand will reopen schools and bars and allow some foreigners into the country from Wednesday. Hundreds of thousands of people across Melbourne, North and West, were ordered to stay at home on Tuesday as Australia's second biggest city struggled to contain a spike in COVID-19 cases. The southern state of Victoria has recorded 233 COVID-19 cases since Thursday, mostly in Melbourne, a major surge in a country that has otherwise successfully curbed the spread of the virus. State Premier Daniel Andrews said that more than 30 Melbourne neighbourhoods would be subject to the lockdown from midnight local time on Wednesday until July 29th. The areas covered are home to more than 300,000 people in the city of roughly 5 million. In the U.S., Los Angeles County recorded an alarming one-day spike of nearly 3,000 new COVID-19 infections on Tuesday, taking its total to more than 100,000 cases, public health officials said, warning that hospitals could soon be overwhelmed. Los Angeles and neighboring counties have become a new epicenter in the pandemic as cases and hospitalizations have surged there despite California Governor Stick's order last week requiring masks in nearly all public spaces. The alarming increases in cases, positivity rates, and hospitalizations signals that immediate action must be taken to slow the spread of COVID-19. The director of public health for Los Angeles County said in a statement announcing the sharp upswing. The county reported a single-day record of 2,903 new cases. A new strain of swine flu, which has the potential to spread to humans and cause another pandemic, has been identified by researchers in China. According to the authors of the study named G4EA-H1N1, the virus is similar to the swine flu that caused a pandemic in 2009 and possesses all essential hallmarks of a candidate pandemic virus. Scientists in Chinese universities and China's Center for Disease Control and Prevention detected the new virus after analyzing 30,000 nasal swabs from pigs in slaughterhouses in 10 Chinese provinces between 2011 and 2018. Afghan government and Taliban officials reported at least 23 civilians were killed on Tuesday in Afghanistan's southern Helmand province and dozens were injured when rockets fell on a cattle market. The warring sides blamed each other for the attack on the open-air weekly cattle market in Sanjan district, where hundreds of villagers from neighboring districts had gathered to trade sheep and goats. A spokesman for the Helmand's governor said that several rockets fired by Taliban insurgents landed close to the cattle market, killing 23 civilians, including children. Taliban officials blamed the government officials for killing the civilians. The Trump administration placed new restrictions on U.S. exports of defense equipment and certain high-technology products to Hong Kong on Tuesday, in response to a new Chinese law aimed at tightening Beijing's control over the territory. The administration determined in late May that Hong Kong no longer has significant autonomy under Chinese rule and promised to begin stripping away Hong Kong's privileged status with the United States if Beijing continued to crack down on civil liberties in Hong Kong. The national security law could drastically curb protests and other criticism of the Chinese government infringing on an arrangement that has made Hong Kong, which China ceded to Britain in 1842 and which ceded being a British colony in 1997, autonomous in many respects. China's parliament passed national security legislation for Hong Kong Tuesday, settling the stage for the most radical changes to the former British colony's way of life since it returned to Chinese rule 23 years ago. Later on Tuesday, state media is expected to publish details of the law, which comes in response to last year's often violent pro-democracy protests in the city and aims to tackle subversion, terrorism, separatism, and collusion with foreign forces. The legislation pushes Beijing further along a collision course with the United States, Britain, and other Western governments, which have said it erodes the high degree of autonomy the global financial hub was granted in 1997. 2021 host New Zealand said Tuesday the annual APEC summit of the Asia-Pacific leaders will be virtual next year to avoid travel risks associated with the global coronavirus pandemic. Foreign Minister Winston Peters said holding the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit online instead of in Auckland was a pragmatic response to the crisis. He said in a statement, given the current global environment, planning to have such a large volume of high-level visitors in New Zealand from late 2020 onwards is impractical. More than 20,000 people were expected to visit New Zealand for the 21st Nations Summit in November 2021, and numerous lead in meetings.